I'm going to try to illustrate and show you how the Ravens RPO game has developed this season and is being used sparingly, and I think that's a part of the plan. I think that they are holding back with their RPO game to use it in big moments later on in this regular season and in the playoffs. And the Ravens' option game overall has evolved from the pistol option game that we see here, an option play to the right where Lamar is reading the D end and you get veer releases by Ricard and Andrews, and it's a big gain for Lamar against the Bengals. Their option game overall is evolving. The RPO is an evolvement, grew out of the option game. So run pass option, you got the run option first. Typically, the Ravens run it at a twins to the left where the back is on the same side as the twins, so what I would call B-gun. You see there's a mesh between Freeman and Lamar. He reads that inside linebacker who basically just sits still and hits an easy completion for Marquise Brown. Early in the season, you were getting this. The X receiver, who's the number one receiver, was trying to block the corner out there in the event that the ball was thrown to Marquise Brown. More on that later. From the end zone angle, you see this linebacker just sits. Lamar reads him properly and then zips the ball out here to Marquise Brown in between the numbers and the hash. Quick and easy play with no harm done to our quarterback or anybody else. Now, when I say easy, I don't mean easy necessarily for Lamar because he's got to read different things every week. This is against Denver. I'm going to show 3 RPOs from this game. He's actually reading the outside linebacker here and throwing it out to Brown in the flats. There's some times where Marquise Brown could just turn it upfield and run towards the sideline and get 7 yards, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is showing what they expect Lamar to do and how the RPO game is underutilized. By my charting, I have us averaging 7.4 yards per play on the RPO plays I have on film, which is 11 plays. Now, there are times when it's actually just a play-action pass, but the running back is going to cross Lamar's face here. He appears to be reading the inside linebacker, and then he's going to throw the shallow drag to Watkins in the vacated space because 2 of the inside linebackers blitzed. I'm willing to admit that in some cases it might actually be a play-action pass rather than an RPO because Mark Andrews is running a route up there to the side where theoretically Lamar will be handing the ball off. But that doesn't mean that the play's still not putting people in conflict because they are. Another element to these RPO plays that I think is beneficial to us is it doesn't force our offensive line to block for 2.7 or 3.2 seconds to keep Lamar protected and go through his progressions. Also, they're procedural, and there's a progression. So what I mean is, like here against the Broncos, this looks like an inconsequential play. Marquise Brown doesn't get a whole lot of yards, but we use these plays to set up other things later on in games or even in the following weeks. Option coaches don't think of just the result of one play. They think of things in terms of long-term development and the ability to use those concepts later on against other people. So same motion by Brown, same route by him out in the flats. This time you get the angled hook by Bateman, and they really put this corner in conflict because of the way the Bengals play defense. They don't want to roll their safeties down, so that they roll the safety back, and that corner couldn't cover 2 guys when they're properly spaced out like Brown and Bateman were there. When used sparingly like this, it really puts people in a lot of conflict and stresses them because they're not preparing for this element, with 2/3 of their focus. They're preparing for this element with maybe 8 to 10% of their focus as far as a defensive game plan. So when we do use them, they really open up. So there's a fine line between using them too much or not enough. I don't think we're using them enough, but again, I think that's strategically. We're putting this inside linebacker in conflict by the mesh between Lamar and Williams. And then he can't cover the hook to curl area, so that's where Bateman checks up on that angled hook. The safety had gone back deep. Just impossible for the Bengals to defend unless they roll a safety down or run that linebacker 57 out there wider to guard Bateman on the angled hook, which would let the corner take Brown in the flats. All right, here against the Chargers, this is actually not an RPO. There's no mesh here between Lamar and the running back, but it's the same pass concept, and he hits Bateman on the angled hook again. That's why I just wanted to show it. Now, right around week 4, I talked about in one of my videos that this is about the point in time of the season where defenses start to see a lot of tendencies and can use it against us when we have limited plays out of a certain formation. So this twins alignment with the back on the same side, the Chargers know that an RPO is coming. So they got 3 over 2. They got a safety, a corner, and a strong safety out here lined up over Brown. So what's that mean in terms of the RPO? It means this linebacker can run when Freeman crosses Lamar's face. He can play run. He's not put in conflict now because they've got 3 over 2 to the twin side to play the pass. So he's put in 0 conflict at all. He can just go. And in fact, the Chargers ran a stunt, and Brown was covered as well, but it shows you how good Lamar is at what he does right now. He just quickly flipped it out there to Bateman on the 5-yard stop. Actually, just a quick hitch, and it's an advancement of how we're running the RPO. So I'm going to stop this in a moment. You see that the linebacker ran with Freeman because he's in no conflict. You got a blitzer off the edge. That's the guy that lined over Brown initially. Now what happened is Brown gets picked up by the safety, so he's in the window of where Lamar wants to throw the ball. No matter, the Ravens have adapted the way they're running this now. Instead of that guy in the number one receiver blocking like Watkins did earlier in the year, now he just runs this quick hitch. We throw it out there to him, and he's athletic enough to make somebody, one or two guys miss and turn what could have been a 3-yard gain into a 7-yard gain. The Colts did something similar against our twin set, B-Gun. They walked an inside linebacker out over Brown and got hands on him because they knew the RPO was coming. So they took away our run option. They let the linebacker run with Williams. Lamar kept it. They took away Brown. Maybe Duvernay's open on the slant, but Lamar doesn't want to throw it with a lot of clutter between him and Duvernay. So what's he do? He takes off running. So even when our options, quote unquote, are taken away from us, we still have that option for Lamar to run. And just a great tackle by one of the Colts DBs, obviously. After that Colts game, we started running some of our RPOs to the right. You saw some against the Chargers that I showed you. Here's one against the Bengals. Andrews is wide open, and we tried to come back to this later on a 3rd and long. And the DN does a great job of getting in Lamar's window. So Lamar is waiting for a second to mesh with Freeman, and I think Freeman just messed up the play. You'll see from the end zone angle, he steps the wrong way. There should have been a mesh there with him, and it messed up the timing of this. So maybe Lamar would throw this ball to Andrews, on his sidearm throw around the D-end if there had been a proper mesh with Freeman. Again, I think Freeman messed that up. There's the D-end doing a great job. They can really only play this out of their 3-4 alignment or their 6-2. In any case, give the Bengals credit for how their D-end played it there. This is one of the coolest plays I've seen the Ravens run all year. I think it was John or someone called this a PRO, a pass run option. So there's going to be a mesh with the back. Lamar's looking out here for Andrews or Watkins. Similar RPO concept, but this is a PRO, meaning if there's nobody open on the pass, then Lamar's going to follow all these lead blockers. So you had Duvernay in motion, you had the back who crossed his face, and then we're pulling the left guard and left tackle while it looks like we're reading this DN. We're really not. He can't run Lamar down from behind. It's an easy gain. I can't wait to see this play run again as we get further and further into the season. Again, the left guard, left tackle going to pull. Williams going to cross his face and lead, and then Duvernay went in motion, is going to end up off screen. So there ends up being 4 guys lead blocking for Lamar when he chooses to keep it because neither Andrews nor Watkins is open. I don't think the Lions had any clue what play this was coming. They just reacted as if it was a typical RPO. I think it clearly is not. Please like the video, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy the content to help me increase the reach of the channel. I'm going to digress a little bit and go off script. This is a formation. I'm going to finish up this video talking about this formation, twin wing. Already done a video about it before. These are not going to be RPOs. This is our RPO formation, at least how we started the year. But in this case, the back is in a pistol set. This safety runs with Mark Andrews from the top side of the field, and Brown runs that kind of post climb route that I talk about. To me, this is probably the formation where we're averaging the most yards per play. Again, on the RPOs, I've got us at 7.4 based on the 11 RPOs I've got film of and that I have in my charting. Twin wing so far has been our most dangerous formation as far as the deep pass plays and the RPO combined. We have not run to the tight end side a whole lot, the 2 tight end side. Now, in this case, it was an unbalanced formation. It was a 6 offensive line formation with Cologne in at right tackle. Typically to the twin side, that's the route you're going to get out of Marquise Brown, the number 2 receiver, and that's kind of who we're going to hit. We want to hit. Not against the Broncos. We were running him on the seam route to isolate Watkins against Patrick Surtain in all this space between the hash and the sideline, to the wide side of the field. Watkins really chewed up Surtain. We know that. We'll give you the end zone angle here. You'll see how the Ravens protect it. We either leave both tight ends to block, like we do here at Max Pro, or we'll release one guy if Andrews is lined up as a tight end. Look at all the time that Lamar has when he's got this Max Pro. This formation's been great to us. Teams have adjusted to it in the last couple of weeks, particularly the Bengals, recognizing that we're not going to throw to the side where we line up 2 tight ends. Last play I'll show you. This time Andrews is in the twins. He's the number 2 receiver. And again, the number 2 receiver is the targeted guy. I think Marquise Brown is going to be open down here towards the sideline. Lamar elected it to throw it to Mark Andrews, singled up on the inside linebacker near the hash. Look, let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. If you think the Ravens should use the RPO concepts more, and if you think, like I do, that they're holding on to this until later on in the season when they really, really need it.